Many people believe that, truly mastering English means facing uncomfortable in-person interactions, feeling isolated when learning digitally, or maybe struggling with awkward tech.
Right.
They often think online learning simply lacks that uh, personal touch or the immediate attention you get in a physical classroom.
Mhm.
But what if the very digital tools that seem to present these challenges are actually your greatest allies in becoming a confident, fluent English speaker?
Interesting.
What if the future of language learning and overcoming that long-held shyness really lies in embracing the virtual classroom? Welcome